Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday Connect. I am your host, Sherelle. I apologize for starting late. Unfortunately, we were having technical difficulty. We're still having technical difficulty. My sister, Dawn Smith, should have been joining me, and she was on, but for whatever reason, she could not hear me. And for whatever reason, I was frozen to her. I believe it was her connection. So, nevertheless, we're going to move on and hopefully she can join us directly from the Facebook chat. But again, hello, my name is Sherelle with Project Purpose Podcast. This is what we do every Friday. We call it Friday Connect, and the community is called Friday Connect Crew. We want you to check in. This is really an hour of space, where we can just unwind, share things that are concerning to us and concerning to the community on a whole. Today, we want to talk about tips for healthy habits for busy people, right? That's you and I. And if you're living in this world with so many things coming at us right now, we are extremely busy. At the same time, we understand that health is very important. How do you balance the two, right? How do you continue to do what it is that you need to do while maintaining a healthy lifestyle? And when we're talking about a healthy lifestyle, we're not just talking about, the physical part of it pertaining to fitness and weightlifting and exercise. We're also talking about the mental health space, right? Or just a space of wellness on a whole. So if you're seeing this live, come on in the room. I'm going to give you a moment to do so while I open up so that we can share the information with others. Welcome, everyone. That we can share the information with others. Welcome. All right, everyone. So, welcome to the live. I do miss my co pilot, Dawn Smith, and I will share her information with you in just a moment. She is a big anchor of this channel and just our community. She is a professional psychologist, but also a businesswoman, and we do quite a few things together. So I'm not sure if she'll be able to join me in the chat because, like I said, she was not able to join me right here, right? We were having technical difficulty. But if you are seeing this live, like I said, go ahead and join in. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. And also just chime in. Let us know where you're joining us from. And let's go ahead and open up the comments section here. All right, everyone. So let's go ahead and get into the information that I wanted to share with you today. How's everybody doing? Hope you all had an amazing week and is ready for the weekend just to unwind. Let me know what it is that you prefer to do. Do you prefer, when it comes to the weekend, just to lounge at home, relax, getting some me time, maybe go for walks, things like that? Or do you prefer to go ahead and hang out with families and friends, just always having some type of adventure going on? Let me know in the chat below. Me, myself, um, I want to say that I don't mind doing both, but I think that I do lean more towards lounging, not necessarily just, watching TV all day, all weekend or anything like that, but more of, getting some self-care in, right? That's usually the time when I'll put on my mask, face mask, that is, or definitely exercise, right? I love to get cardio in. Oftentimes throughout the week, I will be doing strength training. So when it comes to the weekend, I'm either walking with a group of individuals that I go walking here with, or with myself, or with hubby. We love to walk generally, but lately I've been walking with a group of ladies every other Saturday here in Las Vegas. And we go to different parks around Las Vegas, which is pretty cool. I love it. We get up early in the morning and we always catch the sunrise and we walk and just fellowship together. So that's beautiful. I love to do that, which is on the weekend, of course. The days that I'm not doing that, the Saturdays that I'm not doing that, I, like I said, love to just organize my closet, return emails, even though you shouldn't be working, but I use that time to do things like that, plan my week, of course. And always, if anyone also knows me, I'm into personal finance. So I have a passion for just, checking on my stocks, looking at my account, checking things that I am subscribed to, things that I need to cancel, things that I need to renew, so on and so forth, right? So I spend it more in the sense of like a cleanup stage and just prepare me for a productive week. Let me know in the comments, what does your weekend look like? All right. So here are some tips to daily habits for busy people, right? Healthy daily habits for busy people. And just keep in mind, guys, as we are sharing, that we're not talking necessarily about, spending an hour in the gym, green juice every morning, or any fancy wellness routine that may cost you a lot of money, right? We're just talking about simple tweaks that you can do in your everyday busy life that will allow you to stay energized, stay healthy, and continue to be productive. So, and again, let me know in the comments if you are struggling with any of these as we go over them, right? Are you struggling with like sleep, stress, um, eating, right? Are you, looking to maybe, cut back on your diet, and or maybe the type of food that you eat and you're just having a difficult time? Let me know in the chat so that we can address it and also see ways that we can help you. If you prefer a sense of privacy, you can definitely DM me separately, and I will share information with you as best that I can. And like I said, my sister Dawn Smith is truly the one that is into the wellness space, not just the mental health, but she also annual every month, I believe, or every 2 months, she runs a wellness retreat. So it's really good. So she's really into that, very passionate about that. So we can always, run ideas off each other and make sure that we get your concerns addressed, right? And also, what about energy? Me myself is in this area, true fact. I actually suffer from um, low iron, anemic. I'm anemic. Well, let me not confess it. I am working on getting out of being anemic, but for the most part, I've always struggled with low iron. And also, surprisingly, for the most part, I was always still able to move around freely, right? Have enough energy to run my business, be there for my family, exercise and so on and so forth without feeling the strain of, fatigue or low energy, so to speak. But I have to confess that lately I've been actually feeling it. So, you go to the doctor, they'll prescribe all these additional um, iron tablets that you can take, but um, you also have to make sure that you are eating the right food, even though iron is such a nutrient that it takes a long time to actually develop. So you definitely want to be making sure that you're doing your greens right, whether you are into the blending or you want to make sure that you're eating your vegetables. And you know what greens are, right? That's typically the kale, the spinach, the celery, the green apple, ginger, things like that, right? You definitely want to incorporate those things into your diet, which I am doing more of it now because, like I said, lately I've been, feeling the strain of the lack of energy, particularly so because I've also just now taken up running. So I've been running like, once a week, which I know that I also need to increase. I'm trying to increase it if I want to reach my goal, my targeted goal, which is to run a 5K within, where are we now? October 17th, in a few weeks, really, by November 9th, right? And I want to run that 5K under 30 minutes. Right now, I'm about 34, 35 minutes. I am aware that for me to actually hit that goal, I need to run more frequent. So I'm trying to carve that time in, but at the same time, take care of my health. So as I'm sharing this information with you, I'm talking to myself as well. So tip number one that we want to start off with is that you always want to make sure that you stay hydrated. And these things that I'm going to go over, guys, I know that you know them, but I want to bring them to your attention again so that we can start truly making that commitment to ourselves. Remember, this is not for me, it's not for you, right? It's not for me, I should say, and it's not for your families. You're actually doing this for yourself, right? You are now telling yourself that I'm finally demanding results for myself. That which I say that I want and that which I say that I want to do, I am finally doing it, right? So, hydration, right? Everyone knows that you need to drink water, right? That's where you're getting your hydration from. Now, yes, you could go a step further and you can start incorporating water in dense um, fruits, right? That would be like your watermelon, cantaloupe, cucumber, and things like that, right? Um, Thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you are just joining us, again, we are talking about tips for daily habits for busy people, right? Healthy habits for busy people, not just women, but men as well. And we're reminding you that you do not have to have a fancy gym equipment. You don't even need a gym membership, and you don't need a particular wellness routine to start becoming more energized and healthy, right? It's just simply habits that you decide that you will start for yourself, right? Is to hold the man in the mirror accountable, right? So the first one that I want to talk about is becoming more aware of the fact that you need to drink more water. So if you find that you're not doing it right for whatever reason, some of the things that you can do is start drinking your water early in the day, right? The moment you get up. And a tip for this, for anyone that is like myself, that may be low on iron, as you know, you should be taking your iron on empty stomach. So you could be doing two things at once early in the morning. The first thing, you get up, you take your iron tablet to start getting back that iron in your system. But because you need to take it with something, you can take it with orange juice. But of course, there's a little bit of sugar in the orange juice. I'm not really knocking that. It's okay if you are controlling the sugar throughout the day. However, if you can take it with water, that's what I would actually strongly recommend. That's what I started doing. And so you are not only taking your tablets, but you're also starting to hydrate yourself, right? You just jug, as much as you can regarding water first thing in the morning, right? Believe it or not, what does it do? It boosts your energy and your metabolism, right? Water is very important for you. And maybe as you're going through the day and you realize, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., you start to get that crash. And you're just maybe thinking that, oh, I'm just tired. Sometimes it could be that you are dehydrated and need to, get water in your system. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. Now, to motivate yourself, again, we're trying not to spend too much money, but you can actually buy those water bottles. I'm actually thinking of buying one as well. And on the next live or whenever I'm talking about something like this again, I'll make sure that I have it for you. But it's on Amazon or Walmart, right? Sometimes they have marks on those water jug, right? And so it will give you an idea of how you're doing. It encourages you, right? It's like, you're a quarter down, you're half a liter down, and it will even have encouraging words in there, like keep going, you're almost there. Um, so I would strongly suggest that if you're just not the type of person to just, get a glass of water and keep drinking it, to buy yourself a jug, and that's your jug, right? And you can either mark on it your water intake, or like I said, there's a few out there that you can buy that is already available for you just to put the water in and start drinking. A step further that you can even go, if you're not one of those people that just drink plain water, right? You're like, oh my God, this water tastes crazy. I'm not really liking it. You could actually put lemon in your water, or you could also do cucumber. Those are very tasty and obviously easy to digest, right? So that's tip number one in developing healthy habits for busy people. Have your jug throughout the day with you, right? Take it to work with you, have it in your car, and definitely have it at home, right? Tip number two is movements, right? Again, this is nothing new. We all know to do this, right? Again, I'm suggesting that you just simply take advantage of the resources that you already have around you. So you don't need to, again, go to the gym or make it too difficult, guys. If you are in a safe neighborhood and you are able to walk the community, then you should walk the community. You own the community, right? You're paying taxes. If you own the home, you're paying HOA. And if you're in an apartment, you're certainly paying for those amenities. So walk your property, right? Believe it or not, just 15 minutes a day. Again, I prefer to do that first thing in the morning. Once you are up and, you're ready to start the day, you can actually go out and start your walk. I know right now across the states, in particular, it is beginning to be cold, right? So we know the winter season is coming, and of course, people are going to walk less and less. So you have, I want to say, at least another 30 to 60 days, especially those on the south, to get your walk on. But of course, don't forget that you can always, bundle up, put on your hoodie, put on your sweater, and go for your walk, right? What this does is that it boosts your mood, believe it or not, and it obviously reduces stress, right? Because if it's boosting your mood, it means that you're becoming happier, and so that's diminishing your stress. So you certainly want to go for your walk. And it's not just the physical aspect of it. We love to exercise, so we love to go for the walk. Anything that has to do with movement, right? We love it. But it's also a sense of just clearing your mind, being grounded, becoming one with nature, becoming center, taking some time out for yourself, forgetting the phone. Right? You can maybe take your phone with you just for safety reasons, but put it away, put it in your pocket, put it in your little fanny pack, something like that, right? But it's an opportunity. It's 15 to 20 minutes that you are away from social media, away from the phone ringing, and you can just have some me time. So that's tip number two, right? You definitely need to be doing your movements. If you are just joining us, this is Sherelle with Project Purpose Podcast, and we are on live Friday Live Connect. And we're just here sharing with you simply tips that you can start to incorporate in your daily activities to increase your health and to decrease stress. If you are seeing this live, go ahead and just give us a shout out. And we just thank you so much for joining us and being here with us. Tip number three is mindful moments. Mindful moments. What does that mean? That just simply means that along with waking up early in the morning and jugging down the water, taking your vitamins, if you're someone that need to, and also going for your walk, or maybe before you actually do your walk, you could get into mindfulness. And what this is, guys, is just again, before you get onto social media, before you open up that email, even before the world wakes up, right? If you have kids, before they get up, if you have a hubby, before he gets up, you can again spend some time with yourself. And this is where you could first journal if you are someone that is into journaling, right? And even if you're not into journaling, you can actually here go over your goals. I suggest that everyone have a planner or just a simply notebook, a simple notebook, right? Everyone should have something to write in, something that you share your thoughts openly with. So even if you're not journaling on a consistent basis, you can certainly write things down as it comes to you. Maybe you can recap your previous week. What are some wins of last week? What are some areas of opportunity? What can I do different going into the next week? Right? You could even write down your things that are concerning to you. For example, even though it's your personal time, you could still jot down things to do, right? You could say, need to follow up on that call that I got yesterday, need to check on that account, need to call that client, so on and so forth. But along with the journaling or just jotting down things as they come to your memory, is also to create a space of gratitude, right? So you also can spend, 5 minutes or so to ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? You could even say, what am I grateful for yesterday? And you could go back in time, right? Remember some stuff that happened yesterday. you know were you in traffic and you got home safely? That is definitely something to be grateful for, right? It's amazing how we do take every day for granted, right? When we're alive, we take it for granted, just like we take our health when we're healthy for granted. And sometimes the only time we remember to be mindful of our health is when we get sick. So we don't want that, guys. We want to be proactive. And remember always that prevention is better than cure. So not only should take care of the physical body, but you also want to make sure that you are being grateful, being in a place of gratitude. And a hack for you is that when you're in a space of gratitude, you are in the space and the energy to also receive more in your life, more things for you to be grateful for. So it's definitely a place that you want to be. It's definitely a place that is way better than contemplating on your problems, just thinking about the things that are bothering you in life, the stress that you're going through, the roadblocks that you're having, right? Not that you're always going to ignore them, but sometimes you just put them aside and you focus on the things that are grateful in your life, and the things that you're grateful for. Right now, I do know that some people do this in the morning, some people do this in the evening, just like you're walking. Some people walk in the mornings, some people walk in the evenings. It's totally up to you. The bottom line is just to stay consistent and make sure you get it done. Something else that you can do, and something that I am also getting into, is deep breathing. Again, you don't need to be a genius to do this. You don't even necessarily need any particular skill. The only thing that we do different, right? Because oftentimes we're breathing, we're not even aware of it. Right now, I'm breathing as I'm talking to you. I'm babbling on, but I'm breathing. But what you can also start practicing is mindful breathing. And that's when you actually hold your breath a little bit longer, right? You can count to 4, and you can even count to 8. So you breathe in, and you count in your head, right? You breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You breathe out. You breathe in, and you hold it, and you breathe out. When you're doing that, what it is doing is it is making you conscious of your breathing. You are conscious of the fact that you are alive, right? You are healthy, you're alive, you're in a vertical position most often. And so there's when you're doing this as well, guys, you realize that there's so much to be grateful for. I am alive. So it makes you go within and become in tune with your body. I like to do my mindful breathing by putting my hands on my belly, right? Which is, you could call it your right under your chest. So the upper belly, right? Believe it or not, that is also a part of your breathing. If when you've been to the doctor, I'm sure you've been to the doctor, and oftentimes when they check your heart for your breathing, oftentimes they also go right down into the middle section there of your belly, the upper part of your belly, and they test your breathing as well. So I lay my hand there, and I breathe in, and I hold it, and I breathe out. That is also a sense of meditating, right? So if you're someone that is into meditation, then you can certainly sit in your meditative position and enjoy your meditation. But if you're not meditating, you just want to do your breathing, take a moment to pause, to acknowledge your body, right? That is working, your blood is flowing as you're breathing, you're remembering these things, right? And my eyes are blinking without me even doing anything. I can breathe in, I can breathe out, I can smell, I can hear, I can feel, I can taste, I can sense. And as your heart is beating, and you're being mindful of it, you also remember that your blood is flowing, right? Your joints are intact, and your body is in perfect sync with your mind and soul. And what an amazing being you are, right? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the love. Thank you so much for the love, guys. Thank you for being here, Shireen. We always appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you that it is good stuff. So I will continue just a little bit longer. I'm not going to stay too long today, guys. So just to recap, we talked about tip number 1, regarding healthy habits that we can practice daily, regardless of how busy we are, is to stay hydrated. And we says that you can start by drinking your water first thing in the morning, right? And tip number 2, we said, is movement. So we talked about the fact that you can go for your walk, and or just walk around your home, right? Depending on how your home is set up. Of course, I prefer to get out, right? Get out in nature, get out of the house a little bit. But if that's not the case, if you are someone that needs to go to work, things like that, you could just, if you have stairs, walk up the stairs, walk down the stairs. Not exercise, right? Just mindfulness, mindful movement. That's number 2. Number 2, we talked about also, being in a space of gratitude, finding things that you're grateful for. If you're someone that is into journaling, start your journaling, right? Write down your thoughts, your ideas. Something that I would also include right here that I do, and I would encourage you to do it, is to revisit your goals, right? Look over your goals, and you should have different types of goals. Short-term goals, like 3 to 6 months goals, 1 year goal, 3 year goal, 10-year goal, right? And so you could also look over your goals, just not to put pressure on yourself, not to judge yourself, but just to, revisit the goals and remember that those are the commitment that you made to yourself. We also talk about the fact that if you are someone that have low iron like myself, that you can certainly up your greens game, right? And so this would include start juicing, as well as start eating your fruits and vegetables. And you already know what greens look like, right? Start leaning more towards your spinach, your celery, your kale, green apples, ginger, and things like that. So, tip number 4, we're going to move on. Tip number 4 is to eat real food. And again, I know in today's age and society and information that is at us, and so many things that are coming at our, for our time, oftentimes the last thing we have in our mind is food. And the only time we remember the food is when we're hungry. It's the worst time to really think about food, because then you're going to eat whatever you see. So, the trick here, guys, and something that you really have to start doing if you want to live long and healthy life, is to start meal prepping. And meal prepping doesn't have to be as fancy as how you're seeing it on social media, where you're seeing them with all these, containers lined up, and then you see the meat going in, and you see the carbs going in, and you see the veggies going in, and it looks amazing. And you're thinking, oh my God, I can never do that, right? Meal prepping is simply writing down your grocery list before you reach the supermarket. And you need to plan your whole week for grocery. Even if you're not able to buy for the whole week, you still need to plan it. You should know by now that you certainly want to do your best to stay away from things that are high in sugar, right? So all those cookies, all those processed food, all those chips and snacks, all those drinks and sodas, by now they should be totally out of your diet, right? We shouldn't need to spend too much time there. But one would question, well, what do I eat if I'm not eating all of those things? So you want to think first and foremost protein. Protein is the building block to help you grow, to provide you with energy, and to give you ammonia acid to continue to repair your cells, and so on and so forth, right? I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me. But this is just information based on experience and research, and just my own trial and error. Shireen also says cucumber, going back to the juicing, right? Those are things that are high in water and also lots of nutrients, right? But going back to the food, you have got to start prepping ahead of time, especially for busy people, right? That's what we're talking about here, especially for moms, right? And especially if you work outside the home. So, what you want to think of is your protein first and foremost. And you should be eating a lot of protein. So, you can always research that based on your body weight, how many protein. But for someone like me that is 5'5", about 130 pounds, I need to be eating about 130 grams of protein per day. Now, keep in mind, you won't always meet this, right? But the idea is to aim for it. So what does protein look like? So you want to make sure that you're incorporating eggs, right? These are some quick and easy to remember types of protein: eggs, cottage cheese, tofu, if you're into tofu, certainly your meat kind. So, certainly, fish like salmon, definitely chicken, um, There's a bit of protein in beef. If you're like someone like me, I do eat meat. And again, like I said, I am looking to increase my iron. So I also do eat a lot of red meat. So I eat a lot of beef, steak. So there's protein in that, but definitely more so in your chicken, in your fish, your salmon, things like your tin stuff, like ready-made fish, such as mackerel, sardines, um, tuna, and things like that, right? So those are protein. Now you can also get protein from, if you're thinking of additional protein, you can get it from like Greek yogurt. Those are things that you could snack on. So when you're writing your supermarket list, these things should be on there. These are some staples that should definitely be in your fridge, right? Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, meat, right? Chicken, fish, tofu, eggs, and then healthy milk like coconut milk or almond milk, so on and forth and so forth. Those are the ones I can remember at the moment. Shireen, maybe you can help me out. Hi Dawn, thanks for being on. Dawn, we love you. We're sorry that we missed you, Dawn. We're gonna have to get you your own internet service in Jamaica. But anyway, those are your protein, right? So you want to definitely look inside your fridge, or when you write your grocery list, is there protein on there, right? If you're not seeing eggs, and like I said, and certain cheese, if you're into cheese, right, it want to definitely be like provolone cheese, but definitely cottage cheese. You want to have those things in your fridge. Now, believe it or not, you also get a little bit of protein from your veggies. So your veggies are like a win-win in all area, because as you're eating those, whether you're blending it or you're eating it in your food, right? Like your broccoli, zucchini, carrots, things like that. Those tend to have a little bit of protein as well. So the next portion of your diet, right, your overall food, would also include carbs, which is unfortunately the area that we stay at the most. You want to think healthy carbs, and healthy carbs would look like brown rice. At this point, to be quite honest with you, if you're just starting and you still need to, you know, ease yourself into things like this, you can probably still eat like jasmine rice, right? But it's carb, so you want to get your rice. You want to get sweet potatoes is like the best thing that you can ever buy. But again, I know a lot of people, oh, it's so much work. But trust me, to be healthy, to look healthy, to feel healthy is work. And when you buy these things ahead of time, you can prep them, right? So you definitely want to get your sweet potato. You want to get, as I said, jasmine rice. Here's where you can also get your nuts, right? So you get two things from nuts. You get healthy fats, which we're going to talk about next. That's the next category. So your first category is your protein. That's where you should spend a lot of time to put in as much protein as you can. Your carbs, like I said, would be the sweet potato, the rice, and things like, additional vegetables. You can also, when you're snacking, right, we talked about having like Greek yogurt, you can also have healthy nuts. So these are like your almonds, your walnuts, cashew, any type of nuts, right? They do provide a little bit of fat, but it's good fat. It's like healthy fat. Now, keep in mind, not all nuts at the store are created equal, right? Some of them, like these trail mix, sorry, trail mix. But guys, the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is to start looking at the labels. You want to flip those things over. Don't look at what they write on the front, right? That's for marketing. Turn your package over and look at the nutrients information. And you want to look at the sugar intake, and you need for it to be low, guys. Sugar shouldn't be no more than 6 grams of sugar. That's even too high. In my household, we shoot for like 4 grams of sugar or less, and we stay away from anything that says additional sugar, right? Added sugar. Why do we need added sugar? So if you look at your um, ingredients, on the front they may say healthy nuts, right? Nuts to make you feel energized and healthy. And then you flip the side and you're seeing in the nutrients additional sugar. You want to be careful to stay away from it. If you decide to eat it, right? Because again, like I said, you won't be able to control every single thing. If you decide to eat it still, right? If you decide to still buy it, then you want to make sure that you're pulling back somewhere else. So, for example, if you're someone that likes to snack on chips, for example, you cannot do the chips that is loaded with sugar and also be doing the nuts that is loaded with sugar, right? You have to choose, right? We're talking about healthy here. If you are just joining us, if you're seeing this live, thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Sherelle, and this is Friday Connect. I thank the Friday Connect crew for checking in. If you are seeing this, make sure that you share it with others so that we can all grow and become healthier and better together. So we're still talking about tip number 4, which is to eat real food. And we did mention that you want to have your section for protein, you want to have your section for carbs, you want to have your section for healthy fat. So let's talk about healthy fat a little bit. We did already mention your nuts, right? That's a source of healthy fat. But also here you're talking about avocado, which is like superfood. It's good for you like in so many ways. I know Shireen and Dawn both love avocado. I love it myself. It's very expensive here in the States, but I know Dawn have trees of avocado, right? Really nice big avocado. But on a serious note, guys, avocado is very good for you. So you want to start falling in love with it and start putting it in your diet. There's so many things that you could do with avocado. You can put it in your egg salad if you're someone that makes egg salad. And again, the egg salad is a tip. It's one of those dish, guys, that you can prepare ahead of time, especially if you have kids in the home or if you're someone that works late and you're coming home, you don't necessarily want to cook all your meal at one time. You could definitely invest in a slow cooker, and this is where you, before you leave in the morning, you could put your chicken in there. That's your protein. Put your chicken, put your carrots, your peppers, and that will slow cook for you. You could also invest in a rice cooker, and you could have your rice cooking for you. And those things, the rice cooker have an automatic turn off, so it will turn itself off for you. Stay warm. Your slow cooker could just slow cook the whole day and stay warm for you. And you could prepare that egg salad and put that in the fridge. And when you get home, all you got to do, guys, is just share your food for your family. Right, but let's continue. So we talk about healthy fat. Another source of healthy fat is coconut oil, and so we love to cook with coconut oil. You could even use coconut oil on your skin, believe it or not. It's both edible and topical. Again, though, like many other products, not all coconut oil is created equal. So you still want to read the labels, make sure that you are doing those that are on press and really good quality coconut oil, and cook your food with that, and that is also giving you healthy fat. You can also use olive oil to cook, and believe it or not, a lot of people do use the olive oil to cook, and then when they're ready to just let the food simmer and gets its flavor, then they'll put that coconut oil in there. Either way, it's up to you to use your coconut oil or really good olive oil. My cousin Michelle is here. She said, I just eat some avocado. Well, good for you, Michelle. Will is here. Hi, Willie. Hubby is here. Hi, Will. Do you like avocado, Willie? Let me know in the chat. But yeah, guys. So you include avocado, right? So again, if you're taking notes, which you should, or go back and watch the live, to make sure that you are staying balanced with your intake in food, right? You want to make sure that you have your protein, you want to have your carbs, you want to have your healthy fat, and then finally, you just want to have your nutrients, right? Your nutrients. You always want to take in as much as you can so that you can stay away less and less from supplements. So this is where we're talking about all the other minerals, right? The vitamin K, the vitamin D, the B plus, the vitamin C, right? The iron that we just talked about, potassium, magnesium, all these things, they do come in supplemental form because it's often very difficult to actually get a good source in your food. Nevertheless, you want to continue. This is where you will always try your best to cook with veggies, right? So I know again that sometimes we're busy and the last thing we want to do is to chop up veggies and cook them, but you can opt for things like red pepper, green pepper, yellow pepper, right? So those type of peppers, sweet pepper. You can also do carrots in your food. You can certainly do broccoli if you're into broccoli. Those are things that you can just wash and throw in your pot. You don't necessarily need any long time to prep them, right? And believe it or not, those are helping with your nutrients. Earlier in the live, we talk about your greens. So those are also your multivitamins that you're getting into your system. And so that would really help you to stay healthy, right? You notice I did not mention anything about sodas, cookies, chips, frozen pizza, frozen meal. Stay away from the frozen aisle, ice cream, cake. All those things, guys, are loaded with sugar, and that's what keeping you high in your sugar level is high, and you're getting that crash in the evening, and it makes you want to go get another soda, or if you're someone that drinks coffee, go get more caffeine, and the cycle continues, right? You definitely want to start training your body to start eating these healthy food that I mentioned. And if you take note, you realize that I did not talk about buying, the hub grub, the all those other food that are out there, right, that are prepared by other people. They have to put the chemicals in there, guys, and the sugar to keep them, being able to stay on the shelf for a long time. And if you notice, I also did not talk a lot about eating out. And that is what, unfortunately, a lot of people that are extremely busy, we do, right? We eat out or we order those food in. And so you are taking care of an instant gratification, but in the long run, you're killing yourself and you're killing your family. Yes, I say it on live TV. Stop killing yourself and stop killing your family. Start prepping your food. It goes a long way. And remember that one habit leads to another habit. So if you're doing bad stuff, if you're not drinking water, oftentimes you're going to drink the soda, you're going to eat the sugary food, and you're going to keep going down that path. But if you are, give me just a second here, guys. Thank you so much. I was running out of drink. But if you're prepping your food, and simply writing your bucket list, and when you shop grocery, be able to eat the food, the healthy food. So that was tip number 4. And the last tip that I want to share, and then I'm getting off here, guys, let you enjoy your Friday evening, is sleep and recovery. I know a lot of times, when we're hustling, right, and we're as entrepreneurs, and even just regular corporate workers, just regular workers, just working girls and men on a whole, weak people and things like that. But sleep is very important. It is very necessary. And so you definitely need to get your sleep. Now, of course, you don't want to spend your whole day sleeping and say, well, sleep is important, so I'm just going to sleep. No, you definitely want to put in the work. How sweet is your sleep when you know that you did put in a full day's work? There is nothing like it. The sleep is good, right? Here are some tips to actually be able to fall asleep. First and foremost, you need to give yourself at least 30 minutes in bed, right? So if you're someone that decides that I need to be able to start sleeping by 9:30, then you should be in bed by 9. And when you're in bed, what that simply means is, seriously guys, if you want to sleep, you cannot be still be on social media, right? You cannot be still walking around or doing anything else but just being in your bed. So you want to turn off social media at least 30 minutes before you go into the bed. um, Something that you can do if you find that it's difficult for you to actually go to sleep is to also stretch, and also what I talked about earlier, which is to do mindful breathing, right? So your stretching is to be gentle, right? You're not suddenly needing to do any crazy yoga poses, or doing any type of strenuous. You're just going to simple start stretching your body, start speaking to your body, start becoming mindful of your body, and you just go as far as you can, right? So you stretch your arms, you stretch your back, you reach as high as you can up, right? You reach up, you pull yourself like this, and you stretch back. You can turn your ankles like this, right? um, and you just be mindful that you're stretching yourself. Now, like I said, it's a gentle stretch. This is not the stretch that you should do once you're done with working out, right? That's for another live. When you hit the gym and you work out really hard, yes, you should stretch, but that's not the one we're talking about right now. Oftentimes when you hit the gym, it's the best time to stretch right after, because you're still hot, right? Your body's still warm. When you're getting ready to go to bed, your body shouldn't be warm. You're already cold, so you just want to do some gentle stretch. Here is where you can also do that deep breathing that I talked about. So you can just do your mindful breathing, right? You can breathe in and you hold it, you count for 4. When you just started out, if you're a little bit more advanced like myself, you can count to 8. Some people go a lot. But again, the idea is not to try to hold your breath for as long as you can, right? Because then your brain is getting crazy. You just want to go for a comfortable count, and then you breathe out. And you just love on your body like that. And then you just go off to sleep. Some people even journal at this time, and that's not a bad thing. Again, if you are someone that needs to be in bed, let's just say 9:30, need to be asleep by 9:30 so you can wake up by 4:30. You definitely want to be in bed by 9, and you could use the first 10 minutes to journal. You don't want to be journaling the whole 30 minutes, right? Just journal, because in your journal, right, you still have to turn your light on, and the lights are bright. So one of the ways in falling asleep is turning the lights off. Always make sure that you have fresh linen, right? Believe it or not, it helps with your sleep. So even if it's the same sheet you have, you want to wash your sheets, wash your pillowcases, and make sure that your bed is inviting, right? You can even have your therapeutic spray. We love to do that as well. Occasionally you can spray your room with senses that speaks to you, right? Nothing overbearing, just something that is calming to your senses and that will help you to sleep. A few people even go as far as drinking hot tea. If you're someone that is like that, you can do that, right? You can drink tea, but again, at this time of the night, make sure that the tea is just simple tea, that there's no sugar in there, there's no honey in there, right? Remember that we are now going into a state of rest, and so you should have already burned all the energy that you needed for the day, right? Your movement and stuff like that. And now the reserve energy that you have is just to keep your internal organs and everything like that functioning. You're also now ready to start rebuilding new cells as you go off to sleep. So you definitely don't want to have your sugar spike. It's going to store it into fat, and we don't want that. That's the information that I have. My other cousin Donnet is here. Thank you for joining us, Donnet. Love to see you guys here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to share the information with others. And I'm going to wrap up here, guys. Believe it or not, it's been an hour. But today we were just sharing just simply little ways for you to Start incorporating healthy habits into your busy life. I know that we're all busy, but let's not be too busy that we, lose ourselves, right? There's a saying that says the man spent his health seeking after wealth, right? Until he loses his health, he turns around and spend all his wealth to regain his health, right? We can actually have both. When we find balance, we can continue to go after our aspirations, our career, our passions with purpose and, with a sound mind while we are still taking care of ourselves, especially for those of us out there that have families, young children or just children on a whole in the home. You have to be able to take care of yourself so that you'll be able to give your best to others. So we talked about drinking your water. We talked about meditating, being mindful, always having an attitude of gratitude. Find something to be grateful for. We talk about going for walks, right? And just being present with nature, with yourself. We also talked about prepping your food, understanding the healthy food. Start reading your label. If it's one tip that you take away today, remember to start reading your label. You'll be surprised what's in your food when you start reading the label. We also talk about how to sleep, get sleep, and recover, which is to just be mindful of it, learn to stretch, learn to breathe. When you put in a good day's work, you know that you earned the sleep. And so these tips, guys, are things that I'm not just sharing with you. I myself is learning to incorporate them into my life. They're doing wonders for me, and I hope that they'll do the same for you. I thank you for joining me. I hope that you will join us again next Friday, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here just sharing tips with everyone. So, again, like I said, we can all become better and learn and grow together. Follow me on social media when you come across this live. If it brings you value, follow me on social media. I will leave my information in the chat. Also, follow Dawn Smith. I will leave her information in the chat as well. If you should ever need any type of additional, help with your wellness and mental space, my sister, like I said, is a professional psychologist, and that is what she does. But thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. Go out there and do something amazing for yourself today. Until next time, bye for now. Bye, guys.